We're counting down the top 10 Sony Walkmans that defined the soundtrack of the 1980s. From sleek design breakthroughs to radios, rugged sports models, and audiophile favorites, each spot on this list marks a leap in portable music history. Which legendary Walkman earned the ultimate #1 spot? Let's begin the countdown, starting with number 10. The countdown starts with the Sony WM-2, released in 1981, a model that redefined what a Walkman could be. Compared to the original, the WM-2 was noticeably slimmer and lighter, making it the first truly pocket-friendly cassette player. Its dimensions came in at just 29.5 millimeters thick and 280 grams with batteries, shaving off about a third of the weight and nearly 12% of the thickness from the TPS L2. The breakthrough came from a clever internal redesign. Engineers flipped the tape head into the lid and moved the motor, so the cassette loaded in the opposite direction. This allowed the shell to shrink without sacrificing playback quality or battery life. The WM-2's sleek, compact body and minimalist controls set the template for Walkman style throughout the 1980s. Magazine ads from the time boasted about its portability, showing it slipping into jacket pockets and bags. Finally, personal music could go anywhere without feeling bulky or awkward. For many, the WM-2 was the first Walkman that felt like it truly belonged in daily life, not just as a gadget, but as an accessory. Its design DNA ran through every slim Walkman that followed, earning its spot as the model that made portable music stylish, practical, and truly on the go. Sony's WM-F2, released in 1982, broke new ground by adding a built-in FM and AM radio tuner to the Walkman lineup. No longer limited to just the cassettes in your pocket, listeners could tune in to local stations on a whim, music, news, or talk shows, all while walking, commuting, or jogging. The tuner covered FM bands from 88 to 108 MHz and AM from 530 to 1600 kHz, opening up a world of spontaneous discovery for users everywhere. Instead of carrying extra tapes, people could flip a switch and catch the latest hits or a live sports broadcast, making every outing a little more unpredictable and exciting. Sony's engineers designed the radio antenna right into the headphone cord, a clever solution that kept the device slim and portable. But bringing radio to the Walkman wasn't as simple as dropping in a tuner. Different countries had their own rules about frequency ranges, and Sony's legal team spent months negotiating with regulators and tweaking the hardware for each market. In some places, the WM-F2 launch was delayed, while engineers adjusted the circuitry to meet local standards. Despite these hurdles, the model became a favorite for users who wanted more than taped playlists, offering a true sense of freedom and variety that tapes alone couldn't match. Rush hour on a Tokyo subway in 1982. A student slips a slim blue Walkman from her bag, presses play, and leans back as the tape spins. When the last song on side A finishes, there's no need to fumble or flip the cassette. Her Sony WM-7 does it for her. This was the first Walkman to offer automatic reverse playback, letting music keep flowing without interruption. For commuters, this meant the end of awkward pauses and mid-ride tape juggling. The WM-7's secret was a trio of motors working in sync, one for tape movement, another to shift the playback head, and a third to control the clutches. Sony's engineers used a motorized head actuator and logic circuits, a leap in complexity that brought a new level of convenience to everyday listening. User reviews from the time praised the seamless switch between sides, no more breaking the mood or missing a beat on crowded trains or buses. Service manuals from the era show the intricate mechanism, a marvel of miniaturized engineering. With wow and flutter measured at about 0.11% WRMS, sound stayed steady even as the machine changed direction. The WM-7 didn't just improve how people listened, it redefined what portable music could feel like in the middle of a busy day. By 1983, the Walkman had already changed how people listened to music on the go, but Sony saw a new opportunity in the rising fitness craze of the decade. The WM-F5, better known as the Sports Walkman, wasn't just a cassette player. It was a badge for runners, cyclists, and anyone who wanted their music to keep pace with an active lifestyle. Its bright yellow shell stood out on city sidewalks and running trails, a deliberate choice for safety and visibility. But the color was only part of the story. Engineers built the WM-F5 to withstand sweat, rain, and accidental drops, sealing the body with rubber gaskets and reinforced switches. Before release, prototypes faced a battery of endurance tests, half-hour submersions in water tanks, simulated jogs through Tokyo parks, and even a few unscheduled plunges into the Sumida River. Only after passing these trials did the model earn its spot on store shelves. Fitness magazines and athletic catalogs featured the Sports Walkman alongside running shoes and gym gear, positioning it as essential equipment for the new wave of joggers and aerobics fans. The built-in radio tuner let users catch FM hits or AM news while working out, freeing them from the same old mixtapes. For many, the WM-F5 was the first Walkman they trusted to survive a summer storm or a muddy trail run. Its rugged design, splash resistance, and unmistakable look made it a cultural icon of 80s outdoor life, proof that portable music could keep up with the most demanding routines. In 1983, Sony took the Walkman's obsession with portability to its boldest extreme yet. The WM-10 arrived looking almost impossibly small, just 85 by 54 millimeters when closed, barely larger than a cassette case itself. For students and commuters, the effect was immediate. This wasn't just a music player, it was a pocket secret, vanishing into the palm or slipping inside the tiniest clutch. Magazine ads ran photos of the WM-10 side by side with a standard tape, daring viewers to spot the difference. But the magic trick hinged on a clever mechanical illusion. The body telescoped outward on polished rails, expanding to accept a cassette and then shrinking back for travel. Inside, a custom micromotor provided just enough torque to keep the tape spinning despite the cramped quarters. Engineers had to rethink every millimeter, circuit boards, battery, and drive system all squeezed tighter than ever before. The battery wasn't the familiar AA, but a new, slim, gum-stick cell, chosen to match the Walkman's shrunken profile. This pursuit of thinness came with a hidden price. Early adopters noticed the telescoping hinges began to show stress fractures after months of regular use. Service reports from the time describe cracked rails and worn locking pins, especially in units carried daily in overstuffed bags or tight jeans. Sony's engineers scrambled for fixes, reinforcing later production runs with tougher polycarbonate and steel. But the WM-10's reputation for fragility lingered in collector circles. Even so, the WM-10's impact was undeniable. Its radical miniaturization turned heads and set a new benchmark for what portable music could mean in everyday life. The trade-off between style and durability was obvious, but for many, the thrill of owning the world's smallest Walkman was worth every compromise. Audiophiles in the early 1980s had a new object of desire, the Sony WM-DD, released in 1982. Unlike its predecessors, the WM-DD introduced a direct drive, disk drive transport, a leap forward in portable audio engineering. Instead of relying on a thin rubber belt to spin the tape, the disk drive used a flat, brushless motor attached directly to the capstan. This design slashed wow and flutter to about 0.045% WRMS, numbers that rivaled some home decks and left earlier Walkmans behind. For listeners who demanded clarity and pitch stability, the difference was immediate. Music sounded steadier, with vocals and sustained notes holding firm even as the listener walked, jogged, or commuted. Magazine reviews and lab tests from the time praised the WM-DD's frequency response and tape speed accuracy. Collectors and repair techs still point to the disk drive's clever engineering, The motor's thin profile and precise gearing allowed Sony to keep the body slim without sacrificing performance. Yet the same mechanism that made the WM-DD a legend also carried a hidden flaw. At the heart of the drive system sat a center gear, injection molded from polyacetyl plastic. Over time, this gear developed radial cracks, especially after repeated use or years of storage. When the gear failed, the Walkman went silent. Service bulletins quietly circulated among repair shops, and some regions offered unofficial replacement programs. But Sony never issued a formal recall. The WM-DD's reputation as the audiophile's Walkman was built on its fidelity, but its legacy is equally shaped by the center gear controversy. Enthusiasts today still debate whether the sonic gains justified the risk, with many seeking out brass or 3D printed gears to keep their prized machines running. For all its engineering brilliance and measured performance, the WM-DD stands as both a breakthrough and a cautionary tale, a model that raised expectations for portable sound, but also for reliability. Sidewalks in the mid-'80s lit up with more than neon socks and checkerboard patterns. The Sony WM-FX30 arrived in a splash of color, breaking away from the silver and black of earlier Walkmans. For the first time, buyers could pick from at least 6 factory colors: red, blue, green, yellow, white, and black. Each one a statement as bold as the music inside. Magazine spreads showed teens roller skating through city parks, FX30 clipped to their waistbands, headphones framing wild hair. Fashion magazines, not just tech journals, ran full-page ads featuring the FX30 as a must-have accessory, right next to pastel windbreakers and chunky sneakers. Sony's marketing leaned hard into this new identity. The FX30 wasn't just a music player, it was a badge of personal style. Sales figures by color revealed just how much that mattered. Certain hues like electric blue and candy red routinely outsold the basics. Collectors today still hunt for rare colorways, especially the limited pastel editions released in Japan. In youth culture magazines, the FX30 appeared alongside streetwear icons, skateboards, and boomboxes, cementing its place as a symbol of individuality. Under the shell, the FX30 kept things simple: cassette playback plus a radio tuner, but the real story was on the outside. For a generation, choosing a Walkman color became a rite of passage, a way to say who you were without saying a word. The FX30 blurred the line between tech and fashion, turning portable music into a personal signature and setting the stage for the collector frenzy that would follow with even rarer, premium models. In 1985, Sony unveiled a Walkman that would become the holy grail for collectors and a status symbol among audiophiles, the WM-501, known in Japan as the WM-DD100 Budokan. Unlike the colorful FX30 or the ultra-portable WM-10, this model was all about prestige and performance. The nickname Budokan comes from the famous Nippon Budokan Arena in Tokyo, a venue associated with legendary concerts and top-tier sound. Sony leaned into that symbolism, presenting the DD100 as a concert hall you could carry in your pocket. The Budokan wasn't just another disc drive Walkman. It arrived in a gold-lettered case, bundled with Sony's MDR E484 headphones. Earpieces that collectors still chase for their crisp, detailed sound and gold accents. The bundle included a demonstration tape loaded with jazz and pop tracks, chosen to show off the player's fidelity. Inside the box, buyers found a semi-rigid protective case embossed with the Budokan script, matching manuals, and luxury packaging that felt more like a high-end watch than a cassette player. At launch, the price tag stood at 49,800 yen, making it Sony's most expensive portable audio product of its day. Production numbers were kept intentionally low, roughly 20,000 to 25,000 units for the Japanese market, with the export WM-501 model even scarcer. Photos from 1985 show musicians and celebrities posing with the Budokan, cementing its reputation as an object of desire. For many, owning one was the ultimate sign of musical taste and personal style, a piece of audio history that still commands top dollar among vintage tech fans. By the mid-1980s, Sony's engineers reached the edge of what seemed possible for a cassette Walkman. The WM-701C, released in 1988, stood just 18.2 millimeters thick, so slim that it could vanish behind a cassette case. Yet inside that metal shell, it packed a feature that would impress even the most demanding audiophiles: Dolby C noise reduction. For tape listeners, hiss was the constant enemy, a faint background static that even Dolby B could only partly tame. Dolby C, new to the Walkman line, cut that hiss by up to 20 decibels more than its predecessor, bringing quiet passages and delicate details into sharp relief. Store demos in Tokyo and New York let shoppers compare the difference at the touch of a button. One side of the tape played with Dolby B, the other with Dolby C. The effect was immediate. A shimmer of cymbals, the breath before a vocal, all suddenly clear. For many, this was the first time a Walkman could rival the quiet of a living room stereo, even in the chaos of a city street. To power such a compact device, Sony designed a proprietary gumstick Ni-CD battery, the NC6WM, slim enough to fit inside the case without bulging. This battery, paired with a lightweight drive system and advanced electronics, allowed the WM-701C to run for hours without adding bulk. The player's brushed metal finish and minimalist controls gave it an understated luxury, a look that set it apart from the bright plastics of earlier models. Collectors today treat the WM-701C as a near mythical find. Working examples, especially with the original battery and box, fetch high prices on auction sites. The combination of extreme thinness and true high-fidelity playback made it the dream Walkman for anyone chasing both style and substance in their music. For many, the 701C stands as the last word in cassette Walkman engineering before the story circles back to where it all began. A blue and silver rectangle slipped into the world in July 1979 and changed how people experienced music forever. The Sony TPS-L2, known simply as the original Walkman, was more than a gadget. It was an invitation to carry a personal soundtrack anywhere, anytime. Built from the bones of Sony's Pressman recorder, the TPS-L2 stripped away the microphone and speaker, focusing entirely on private listening. Masaru Ibuka, Sony's co-founder, wanted a lightweight stereo for long flights. Engineers delivered a device just 33.4 millimeters thick and weighing 390 grams, powered by two AA batteries. It didn't record, it didn't have a radio. But it did something no other machine had done. It made music portable, personal, and for the first time, social. The TPS-L2's dual headphone jacks let two people listen at once. Couples and friends shared tapes on train rides or city strolls, trading songs and stories in real time. A special hotline button allowed one listener to mute the music and speak directly to the other. A feature born from Akio Morita's belief that music should connect, not isolate. Early marketing teams hit the streets of Tokyo, handing out Walkmans to passers-by and watching curiosity turn to delight. In its first 2 months, more than 30,000 units flew off shelves in Japan, 10 times Sony's original sales target. The launch price was 33,000 yen, a hefty sum for the era, but demand only grew as word spread. The Walkman didn't just sell, it created new habits. People walked more, tuned out city noise, and claimed control over their own soundscape. The TPS-L2 became a symbol of freedom and youth, appearing in films, fashion spreads, and the hands of travelers worldwide. Every innovation that followed, smaller bodies, radios, auto reverse, bold colors, traces its roots to this first leap. The original Walkman stands at the top, not for its features, but for transforming music from a destination into a companion, and for making the question, which Walkman did you have, possible in the first place. From the trailblazing TPS L2 to the ultra-thin WM-701C, this countdown has traced the full evolution of Sony's 1980s Walkman legacy. Across all 10 entries, we've seen a clear pattern: relentless innovation in design, sound quality, and lifestyle appeal. Surprising standouts, like the rugged bright yellow Sports Walkman and the audiophile favorite disk drive models, prove that Walkman was never just one thing. Ranking criteria combined cultural impact, technical breakthroughs, and how each device redefined portable music. The most shocking entries, such as the cassette case-sized WM-10 or the status symbol Budokan, showed just how far Sony pushed boundaries in size and prestige. Ultimately, every model built on the original's vision: music, anywhere, for everyone. This list reveals that the Walkman story is as much about engineering feats as it is about personal expression and global culture. Whether you had a fashion-forward FX30 or the iconic blue and silver original, owning a Walkman meant you were part of a movement that changed how the world listens.